Good afternoon, everyone. We are conducting interviews with our city council candidates and discussing some issues and concerns, challenges, specifically focused around quality of life and livability issues. And our next candidate is our incumbent city councilman, Monty Parks. And we're glad to have you, Mr. Parks, with us. And we have a series of 3 questions that we've asked, and you've got the questions in advance. And then at the end, we want to give you a chance just to speak from your heart,
okay.
From whatever issues or concerns that you want to share with the folks.
Okay.
So we'll just get right started. Our first question has to do with livability. According to the nonprofit Partners for Livable Communities, the first principle of livability is equitable access to things like housing, neighborhood environment, transportation, clean environment, healthcare, civic and social engagement, education, inclusion, and safety. And over the last few years, our property values on Tybee Island have really gone quite high, and that leaves a lot of people that would like to live here, particularly with maybe lower income families, unable to do so. So we wanted to ask, how would you go about trying to provide more fair and equitable, affordable housing to folks from a variety of economic backgrounds?
First, Ken and Julia, thanks for the opportunity to not only be recorded but be on video, and to get these viewpoints out to people. I appreciate your effort and what you're doing here. Housing, this is not just with the recent housing boom, which is nationwide. This has been an ongoing for as long as I've been on council, and I've had a lot of discussions. They've involved things like tiny houses, if you remember the tiny house discussion, Section 8 housing, land purchases by the city, and city-operated dormitories. I mean, we have talked about this, but most interesting for me as a council member have been the efforts, 2 separate efforts by city businesses. One involving actually putting up a building with the business on the lower floor and living space on the upper floor. The other is a business on the island that actually purchases houses and then rents them back to employees. Now, about 10 years ago, don't let me date myself too much here, okay? I was a board director for the Main Street program, and we formed something called the Downtown Development Authority. The DDA functions as a partner between private and public enterprises to get large projects done. And this type of project, this multi-use building or apartment building, is a perfect function for why the DDA was created. It's still in operation, it's still available, and I think it's one of the answers people have to turn to, because these are large projects that involve public and private involvement. So we've worked in that direction. There's been strides made. There's a lot of room to grow. But I really think that mixed usage with business on the first floor, housing on the second floor, and purchases of residence and rental and for the employees, 2 good answers. I think the DDA provides the interface between private and government to get that done. But at the same time, I will not sacrifice Tybee's 35-foot height limit. I will not give that up for this or any other project.
I know a lot of people will certainly appreciate hearing that.
It's tattooed here on my 35 foot.
Because, in the short time that I've lived here permanently, many people that I meet mention that as so thankful to have that restriction.
Yes, you go to beach communities all over, and there are hotels 20-story hotels right up on the beach. We don't have that. It's a blessing.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for that response. I appreciate learning about the DDA, and I'm glad to hear those two great options. The second question I wanted to ask, it has to do with encouraging collaboration from a variety of perspectives. We have a lot of challenges. STVR is certainly among the forefront. The environment, infrastructure, several things, and all you have to do is get on Nextdoor and hear and read a lot of different perspectives, and some civil and some not so civil. But as a city council person, how do you go about and how do you propose to include a variety of perspectives as you go about the decision-making process?
One of the blessings of being in a small town is that all I have to do is go to the IGA and hang out at the produce counter for a Saturday afternoon. And beyond that, I'm available on multiple social media platforms, through my city email, which gets blown up pretty regular. I also attend as many city functions as I can, like infrastructure meetings, public safety meetings, the Post Theater Board of Directors, Ethics Commission. You've seen me sit in on those meetings, Planning Commission meetings. This gives people a chance to approach me and to give me their viewpoints. In addition, I volunteer for several organizations here on Tybee. The YMCA on skate nights. I am the DJ, have been for 7 years. And the Post Theater, where I've hammed it up on stage several times. The Tybee Farmers Market, where I play as a charitable function every Monday that I can when it doesn't rain like yesterday. And I think it's important for a council person to get out into these various volunteer organizations and to listen to what's said. But I'm going to tell you something, Ken. I think I'm a pretty happy person, and I think I'm very approachable. And in addition to that, you can collect diverse opinions. But if you're not free from strings and commitments to outside organizations, you're not able to consider them. I have no involvement in the rental industry. I have no involvement in the alcohol or tourism-related industries. I owe no money to people, and once again this year, I'm not collecting contributions or donations to my campaign so that I'm not beholden to anybody. So if a diverse opinion comes to me, such as I attend management classes put on by 100 Miles, an environmental group that involves the 100 miles of Georgia coastline. Some different viewpoints, completely different viewpoints. And I can consider those without worrying about contradicting donors or people I've made promises to. I think it's very important because everybody wants to be an influencer these days. And a lot of people have a lot of money. You've seen it in the STR discussions. There's lawyers, there's all kinds of powerful groups. We're just a little council. And if you're not free from strings, if you aren't beholden, you need to be able to respond to those diverse opinions.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the attachments that public officials, elected officials make, they can certainly be constraining. And whereas Tybee's, in the big picture, is kind of relatively small community, as you said. There's a lot of folks with great power that want to use Tybee for their own agenda.
Never forget that anything we do, such as on STRs, if we run into challenges or changes, we don't just affect Tybee. We affect the entire state of Georgia and every community that's looking to us for direction and for legal precedent. So we have to be not only independent, but very careful and very thoughtful.
Yeah. great point. That brings us to our last question, and I'll just summarize the question. It's a little
Please,
lengthy.
that was a rather extensive question.
Yeah, well, I wanted to give all the candidates the actual citation from, so I'll just summarize it. You know, we have a charter school here on the island, Tybee Maritime Academy, and they state that they focus their primary attendees on the island itself, but then also the county as a whole they draw from, and they also state that they try to bring about a diversity of students from a variety of parts of the island and the county. But at the same time, we've heard several anecdotal stories of families that have come to the island under the assumption that their child could attend TEMA, only to find out that they have to participate in a lottery. They don't always get in. TEMA does draw students from across the county. At the same time, some of those students that come may not be from much of a diverse background. They might be from a very, mostly a high income background, predominantly white, let's say. So acknowledging that the city council doesn't have a lot of influence directly on TEMA and its board and its operation, how might the city council encourage TEMA to be more diverse? And TEMA's growing, so there's some challenges there about providing the land or space that they need. So, what are your thoughts about that? Encouraging diversity of economic background, race, educational ability. I still made it a long question, didn't I?
Yes, you did. But I don't have any, that's fine. I understand where we're going. And I'm gonna answer it, but I'm also gonna take off a little bit. So bear with me towards
Sure.
the end,
Sure.
please, okay? Both of you. Don't get upset with me, Julia. Just hang with me here. I've taken over 70 hours of classroom experience with the Georgia Municipal Association, GMA.
Yeah.
70 hours is almost the equivalent of an associate's degree in government. It's on law, municipal finance, all kinds of subjects. One of them is the role of city council, because frequently councils find themselves in places where they shouldn't be. And so GMA tries to make sure we know where's the lines on the road.
Right.
Where are the lines on the coloring book so we don't go outside too much? One of the organizations is the school board. And the school board in Chatham County is a very powerful board. It is not something, and then charter schools have yet another series of organizations that oversee them. Somewhere at the bottom of all that list is the council with what little influence we have. If there's an issue with the way TEMA handles its acceptances, I would strongly recommend to go through the school board or the charter school board and work the formal system. I really, and at that point, I wanna, here we go, Ken, all right? I just, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I don't know, Julie, at least 6 years ago, the citizens of this community said they wanted a school. And they were told that to start a charter school was going to be a huge challenge. It was going to be a very heavy lift. And it was. And they got it done. We were told that to have a full-time professional fire department, to go from what we had to a professional full-time fire department, was going to be a heavy lift. And it has been. It has not been a happy, friendly, but we got it done. We have a professional, full-time fire department that is fully equipped. We were told that our recycling program, the one that citizens were paying $400,000 a year for, wasn't working, and that it had to be folded up and taken away, and Tybee would have no recycling program. And to get it done was a heavy lift. But now Tybee residents pay less than $40,000 a year, and they have a recycling program that can't keep up. It's so successful. We were told that shallow wells couldn't keep up with the water flow. There was no alternative except to use Floridan aquifer water. Shallow wells could not keep up at the North Beach bathroom. They couldn't keep up down at the foot showers and the showers down at 16th. And I received so much trouble on that. And yet here we are, thousands and thousands of visitors later, years later, and we still have people that are using clean, safe, refreshing water from shallow wells. We were told after Matthew that it was going to take us a year to get this island back and rolling. Within a period of months, we had the debris cleared, and we were open for business, and we were safe, and we were ready to go. We were told Irma was going to set us back for a year. We were told Dorian was going to, at C-19, when COVID came through, it was 6 months of hands on deck, deal with this crisis. What do we have here that the city council had to deal with? 4 years ago, we bought a specialized camera and a truck and trained operators to go look at our sewer and water systems so that we would know where the problems are, because we knew there were problems. Fort was decommissioned in 1945, I believe. When were the sewers built? Okay. Are we going to have problems there? Yes. And guess what we found? We have problems. You have to go looking to find it. So half of the Fort sewer system was replaced this spring. The rest is scheduled for this fall and winter. We replaced the entire sewer and water along Jones. Replaced the entire sewer water along North Campbell and put a sidewalk in to boot. The water systems on Isler and further south from there have been replaced. 14th Street. Huge challenges. Fire department, school, sewer infrastructure, storms, epidemics. Council deals with this stuff on a daily basis. And the question is, how are you going to deal with it? You're going to deal with it as a responsible council that takes responsibility? Or are you just going to throw fingers, throw blame, and move on from there? I'm not a big speaker. I'm not a big high-profile guy. I don't do the TV things. I just like to get this stuff done. I enjoy the challenges. I would look forward to another 4 years. And I really appreciate you taking the time to let me say my piece.
Sure, absolutely. Is there any other last minute word that you'd like to share just with the folks about, challenges, concerns, focus, any other final word?
The STR debate is huge. I was proud to sponsor the moratorium so that we could consider some of the bigger issues that are facing us, like occupancy, parking, density. We've done a lot of the groundwork. Now we have some real heavy lifting ahead of us. I would ask that everybody be patient during this period. Work with us. This is going to get done, just like the other challenges we face. This is a strong community. It's a good community, and I'm proud to serve it, and I hope to serve it again for 4 more years.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate your focus.
Thank you
on the,
for doing this.
On the common good and the
And you've got a wonderful camera person, and
absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.